Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. Looks like Rog is already awake and ready on Discord, so let's go in Discord and see what's up.
So what's going on? I can hear you now.
The news.
What's funny? Happy 420.
Yep,
All right, then.
that day.
We are today's non-shooting news. It's like a game. It's like a game show. It's like improv. It's like,
Our
whose line is
improv
it
show,
anyway? Whose line is it anyway?
I didn't sign up for improv. I'm not a...
You didn't sign up. It is improv whether you like it or not. But you are reading live headlines. Always ready?
I am ready.
Well then, let's do it.
Okay. Today on Before Coffee. Frightening, record-busting heat and drought hit Europe in 2022. Continent set for further drought since 2023, signs say, as unstoppable impacts of climate crisis mount.
As Xi befriends world leaders, he hardens his stance on the U.S. Ooh.
Confusion over cause of flash in sky over Kiev after NASA denies involvement. Ukraine has said a satellite re-entering the atmosphere was the cause of the phenomenon, but space agency has denied this.
2 dead in possible tornado in Oklahoma as storms hit the state.
Bolshoi ballet about Nureyev dropped due to ban on LGBT propaganda in Russia.
What is 420? Why is it on April 20th? Well, let's explain the 420 holiday. Today on Before Coffee, the 420-23 edition of Before Coffee.
All right, on to our first story of today. We're going to cover how we're possibly going into another drought here in 2023. The climate crisis has frightening impacts in Europe last year, with heat waves killing more than 20,000 people and drought withering crops, an EU report has found. Its writers said drought was already baked in for many farmers in 2023. The only way to limit the rising damage of global heating was rapidly cutting carbon emissions, they said. I love that they said already baked in, that it's rising like bread. The report from the Copernicus Climate Change Service, or the C3S, said widespread heat waves had led to Europe suffering its hottest summer on record in 2022 by a large margin. These would have been virtually impossible without global heating and led to many premature deaths. People in southern Europe endured 7 to 100 days of heat stress, where the temperature felt like it was at least 32 Celsius, which is like really close to boiling point. Accounting for wind and factors, in the UK, temperatures are not boiling point. I don't know. I care what between Celsius to Fahrenheit. Accounting to wind and other factors in the UK. 40 C for the first time. I think it's around 40 C is close to 100 Fahrenheit. I know if you're 40 C, you're having a fever, a high fever. The heat plus low rainfall caused drought that affected more than a third of the continent at its peak, the reporter said, making it the driest year on record. Flows in almost 2/3 of Europe's rivers were lower than average. High temperatures also meant that the carbon emissions from summer wildfires were the highest in 15 years, and the European Alps lost record amounts of ice from glaciers. Overall, Europe experienced its second warmest year ever recorded, with temperatures rising as twice the global average rate, faster than any other continent. Over the past 5 years, the average temperature has been 2.2 C higher than its pre-industrial era. One bright spot in this report was that Europe was receiving its highest amount of solar radiation in 40 years. I guess that is true. Well, it was really hot because we had the sun, but we are also able to capture the sun. Director of the C3S, Carlo Buontempo, said, "We're moving really fast into uncharted territory. The report should have been seen and yet another wake-up call. No, the report should be seen as yet another wake-up call to accelerate our efforts to cut carbon emissions, which hit its record levels in 2022, he said. Scientists recently predicted that the imminent return of El Niño climate phenomena would cause global temperatures to rise off the charts. Dr. Rebecca Emerton, lead author of the report, said, "We cannot stop these climate impacts. We can only limit them by reducing greenhouse gas emissions rapidly." He said a dry winter and spring in 2023 meant more drought was on the way. Unfortunately, the impacts are probably already in place for a growing season. We're likely to see reduced crop production this year. I guess this must have been dry the south, because it was not dry here. Or maybe it was dry compared to previous years. Like, it only rained where I live for like an entire 8 months.
Is that all?
But maybe, no, it's probably more like 5 months. I'm pretty sure it was, maybe it was cloudy but not rainy. I don't remember. These people probably know better because they actually pay attention, to be honest. A separate report also published on Thursday showed that the Greenland and Antarctic ice sheets had lost ice every year since the polar satellite records began in 1992. The 7 worst melting years all occurring in the past decade. Melting drives up sea levels and coastal flooding across the planet. A study published in the journal Earth System Science Data found that the polar ice sheets lost 7.6 tons of ice between 1922 and 2020, equivalent to a giant ice cube 12 miles or 20 kilometers in height. Scientists predict that if the ice sheets continue to melt at this pace, they will contribute between 15 centimeters to 27 centimeters to the global sea levels by 2100. 2100, I can't even think of that time. A different century. Proof Andrew Shepherd at Northumbria University. A professor, sorry, I said prof, so I was like prof, and I just read it without translating. Professor Andrew Shepherd at Northumbria University, the UK, said, "We are finally at the stage where we can continuously update our assessment of ice sheets loss, as there are enough satellites in space monitoring them, which means that people can make use of our findings immediately." Alright, so we're all gonna die. It's the end of the world. Your next story.
Cryptocurrency is one of those things that contributes to it. Like all the greenhouse gases used to mine just one coin, Bitcoin, is ridiculous. Yeah, ridiculous. Like you gotta use the powers of 3 cities or something ridiculously stupid just to get Bitcoin. Yeah, we're killing our planet. Well, this is a 6-minute read from New York Times, so let's time it. As Xi befriends world leaders, he hardens his stance on the U.S. China has rebuffed calls to restart high-level talks with the United States, raising the risk of confrontation in contested areas like the Taiwan Strait. This is from David Pearson, New York Times. China's top leader, Xi Jinping, has rolled out a red carpet for President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva of Brazil, lauding him as an old friend of the Chinese people. He has sipped tea in the garden of President Emmanuel Macron of France, greeting him to performance of ancient Chinese zither. And he has talked on the phone with Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, Saudi Arabia's de facto leader, offering well wishes for the Muslim holy month of Ramadan. But even as Mr. Xi has offered a glad hand to choose other world leaders in recent weeks, it has been only the cold shoulder for the United States. China has rebuffed attempts by the Biden administration to restart high-level talks and lower tensions over Taiwan. And Mr. Xi's government has intensified a campaign of ridicule and criticism of the United States and Western democracy. Taken together, the efforts to shore up ties with American allies while publicly discrediting the United States reflect Beijing's hardening position as relations sink to their lowest point in decades, or what Mr. Xi has described as Washington's containment, encirclement, and suppression of China. The two-pronged approach, some analysts say, is compelling evidence that Mr. Xi has finally committed to the view that engagement between China and the United States is fruitless, at least for now, and has lent urgency to concerns that the two powers in a collision course that could lead to dangerous accidents or even war. This could lead to dangerous accidents. What the hell does that even mean?
I don't know. We're gonna start. We're gonna accidentally murder the Chinese diplomat because I don't know.
We're gonna accidentally drop a bomb. Whoops, we dropped that bomb out of a plane. How did that happen? Over Taiwan and over geopolitical flashpoints. Mr. G's diplomatic effort was to be buffed by the United States and some of the closest allies this week. When a meeting of top group of 7 diplomats gathered in Japan and vowed to address China's growing assertiveness altogether. But Mr. Xi has still been getting some reaction. He and other Chinese officials had hoped for in recent months, visually chipping at some of the alliances that underpin Washington's influence. But it is China isn't getting their way like they are used to. That's really what it is. And the actual United States just let them push everybody around. Then they got to turn into diplomats. So Xi's turned into a diplomat. He's running around, hey, everybody, the United States doesn't care about you. And he's, that's a tough road to hoe. Try to wedge yourself between the United States and NATO, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, NATO, what do you need them for? You got China will protect you. No, you won't. No, you won't. You don't even protect your own people. All right, your story.
All right. Next story is about a giant flash over Kiev. And NASA is denying any involvement, I don't know, and taking a huge globe picture. I don't know what that means. We'll look at what this says. A flash in the sky over Ukrainian capital prompted a confusion and alarm. A city authority said it was caused by a NASA satellite re-entering the atmosphere, while the U.S. space agency denied involvement. A bright glow was observed over Kiev around 10 p.m. local time. Head of Kiev's military administration, Sergei Popko, wrote on Telegram. Air raid alert was activated, Popko said, but air defense was not in operation. Shortly after, the Ukrainian Air Force said the flash was related to the fall of a satellite or meteorite. But a NASA spokesperson denied the assessment, telling AFP news agency that the satellite in question was still in orbit. The U.S. Space Agency has announced earlier this week that a retired 30-kilogram satellite would re-enter the atmosphere sometime on Wednesday. However, that re-entry has not yet occurred. No other NASA satellite re-entered the atmosphere earlier today, NASA spokesman told AFP. Reuven Ramtey high-energy solar spectro... Oh my god, that's so long. Okay, here we go. The Reuven Ramtey high-energy solar spectroscopic imager, or the RESI, I'm going to call it the RESI, spacecraft, used to observe solar flares, was launched in the low Earth orbit in 2002 and decommissioned in 2018, NASA said. Speculation and memes abounded on Ukrainian social media after several channels posted videos showing the powerful flash lighting up the sky over Kiev. While social media is amused by flying saucer memes, please do not use the official symbol of the Air Force to create memes, an Air Force tweet said. In a statement Monday, NASA had said it expected most of the RESI spacecraft to burn up as it re-entered the atmosphere, but some components are expected to survive re-entry, NASA said, adding the risk of harm to anyone on Earth was low, approximately 2,467. Okay, so don't be that guy. Don't be the one out of 2,467 that gets hit by space junk.
It'll be me. Right as I'm about to take a bite of a sandwich.
I do want to see this video, but I guess I'll look it up on Twitter later. Random flashing light. Hopefully we find out what it was and not like some, I don't know, aliens.
That would be good news. I don't know what you're talking about. I'd love to see an alien about now.
Okay. It's
And I would like to take this opportunity to swear allegiance to our alien overlords.
And what are you providing? Radio assistance?
I can play guitar.
I can play guitar.
All right. Is it the story? Am I moving on?
That's the story. Unless
all right.
You want to continue deliberating over aliens.
In more death, weather causes death news. Two dead and possible tornado in Oklahoma as storms hit the state. Because Oklahoma is still Oklahoma. The town of Cole, south of Oklahoma City, had significant damage as storms reported tornadoes strike the state. I watched some of this live video of these storm chasers. These guys are nuts. Yeah, they didn't find anything. They just got dark while they were doing it. Two people are dead in Oklahoma after a possible tornado struck Wednesday night. This is from Phil Hazel of NBC News. The McLean County Sheriff's Department confirmed 2 deaths and said a Facebook post that crews were responding to reports of injuries and people trapped in their shelters. Residents of Cole, a town in the county about 25 miles south of Oklahoma, were told to take shelter immediately Wednesday evening. The county's emergency management agency said at 7:39 p.m. that a dangerous tornado was over the town. Based on the damage and reports we're getting back, as significant as it is, reasonably there could be more injuries or deaths that we don't know about this time. McLean County Sheriff Deputy Scott Gibbons told reporters earlier. There was one confirmed death. When there was one confirmed death. Helicopter video from NBC affiliate KFOR of Oklahoma City showed destroyed homes in and around Cole, a town of around 620 people. Oklahoma Highway Patrol Trooper Eric Foster told reporters that Cole had significant damage and that trees and power lines were down. He said that the rural nature of the community in the state, as well as the damage, means searchers need time to check on damaged properties and storm shelters. We're having to park and walk miles to get into a lot of these places, so it'll take us time to search that, Foster said. We do not know that there are injuries. We do know that there is significant damage to properties. In Norman, which is east of Cole, the University of Oklahoma told everyone on its campus to seek immediate shelter and to stay away from windows and dangerous storms approach. The threat of tornadoes later passed. In Pottawatomie County, the Weather Service warned of a storm with tornado approaching Shawnee, a city of around 30,000. It wasn't immediately clear whether there were any injuries. The extent of the damage wasn't also immediately clear. KFOR broadcast images showed down power lines and damaged business signs in the city. Pottawatomie County Emergency Management said in Facebook posts that roads and streets were blocked and debris of power lines, and too many to list. It urged people to stay home so the first responders could do their jobs. Oklahoma Baptist University in Shawnee said classes were canceled Thursday and Friday, and students were told to stay in their housing units Wednesday night, setting debris and down power lines. No injuries have been reported, but damage to campus is significant, the university said in a Facebook post. Man, I'm combining words. Weather Service on Wednesday had forecast a chance of severe thunderstorms as well as tornadoes in parts of the Great Plains because of the cold front. There you go. Oklahoma tornadoes. Oh, yeah.
Big tornadoes.
Mm-hmm.
Right. My next story, we're going to talk about a ballet in Russia being canceled because it demonstrates LGBT propaganda. Moscow's Bolshoi Theater has dropped a contemporary ballet about Russian dancer Rog Nureyev from its repertoire after the expansion of a ban on LGBT propaganda. A law passed in November not only widened an existing prohibition on material considered to promote an LGBT lifestyle, but also restricts the demonstration of LGBT behavior. This makes any portrayal of homosexuality, such as Nureyev's relationship with men after his defection from the Soviet Union in 1961, which the ballet touches on, almost impossible. The ballet, choreographed by Kryly Serebrennikov, has had a troubled history in Russia, where the President Vladimir Putin has long promoted conservative values as part of a nationalist agenda backed by Russian Orthodox Church. It premiered in December 2017, several months late after the then cultural minister reportedly called it gay propaganda, and has not been performed since 2018. Performances scheduled for 2022 were abruptly cancelled after Serebrennikov publicly blamed Russia for the conflict in Ukraine. Nureyev was moved from the repertoire in connection with the law, where issues related to the promotion of non-traditional values are stipulated absolutely unequivocally. Vladimir Yurin, general director of the Bolshoi, the news conference on Wednesday. Rebrennikov, one of Russia's leading film, theater, and television directors and stage designers, made his positions clear. This criminal law was passed specifically against this show and against several books. Well, okay, he wrote on his Telegram channel, adding 3 rainbows and an LGBT symbol. The Rebrennikov was himself fallen foul of Russian authorities. He was detained in 2017 and held in a house arrest for almost 2 years. The outrage of Russia's liberal cultural establishment before being given a suspended sentence in 2020 on charges of embezzling a state subsidy. After he paid the sum, the sentence was canceled last year. And now he's going to be imprisoned for speaking badly about the government, because that's what Russia's doing right now. So, good luck, get out of there, Rebrennikov. Or maybe not, maybe like many people, even though they don't agree with their government, they don't want to abandon their country. Never leave, get imprisoned and then killed at some point. It's a very sad story that's happened in a lot of countries.
Well, on the lighter side, what is 420 and why is it on April 20th? Well, this is from Vox.com. A guy named German Lopez. It's 420 and the days tens of thousands of Americans gather around the country to celebrate a drug that remains illegal. And actually the federal government makes it illegal in the United States, marijuana. It is cherished part of pot smokers around the world as a reason to toke up with friends in massive crowds each year. And of course, 420 in the afternoon each day. Major rallies occur across the country, particularly in places like Colorado, California, and 15 other states where marijuana has been legalized. But as support for marijuana legalization grows, the festivities are becoming more mainstream and commercialized. As a result, marijuana businesses are looking to leverage the holiday to find more ways to sell and market their products. Dude, I don't know if you can sell any more than they're selling now. How much weed can you smoke in a day? I have a limit. Hey, really? Hey, I'm done, right? It's a self-limiting drug. That's why it's so great. As a result, marijuana businesses are looking to leverage the holiday to find more to sell and market their products. This product puts 420's current iteration in sharp contrast to the holiday once embraced by the counterculture movement, largely made up of hippies and others who decried greed, corporate influences, and all things mainstream. And that tells us a whole lot about how cannabis is changing in America as marijuana is legalized. What is 420? Again, asking the question again in the article without answering it. Why April 20th? There are a few possible exceptions for why Marijuana Enthusiast Day celebration landed on this day, but the real origin story remains a bit of a mystery. Steve Hager, a former editor for the marijuana-focused news outlet High Times, told New York Times that the holiday came out of a ritual started by a group of high school students in 1970. As Hager explained, a group of California teenagers ritualistically smoked doobie every day at 420. The ritual spread and soon 420 became code for lighten up. Eventually, 420 was converted into 4/20 for calendar purposes, and the day of celebration was born. A group of Californians published documents giving the theory legitimacy, but it's unclear if their claims are valid. One common belief is that 420 was the California police and penal code for marijuana, but there's no evidence to support those claims. Yeah, that never checked out. Another theory is that the 420 active chemicals in marijuana, there are 420 active chemicals in marijuana, hence the opposite connection. That's not quite true here. There are nearly 500 such components in marijuana. No, that doesn't sound like a real story. A lesser known possibility comes from a 1939 short story, In the Walls of Eryx, by H.P. Lovecraft and Kenneth Sterling. The story describes curious mirage plants that seem fairly similar to marijuana and appear to get in the narrator high at, according to his watch, around 420. since the story is 1939, it's perhaps the earliest written link between marijuana and 420. Whatever its origins, 420 has become a massive holiday for cannabis aficionados. What 420 stands for varies person to person. Some people just want to get high and have fun. Others see the day as the movement to push for legalization or celebrate legalization now that more states have adopted it and has a popular opinion behind it. In 1970s, 420 was part of a smaller counterculture movement and embraced marijuana as a symbol of protest against broader systematic problems in the U.S. Marijuana was the way you said you weren't a suit. Okay, Keith Humphreys, a drug policy expert at Stanford University, told me. In recent years, pot legalization activists has tried to bring more formal aspect to the celebration, framing it as a movement to push their political agendas. Organizers for the 2014 Denver rally, during the first year marijuana sales were legal in the state, put out a statement comparing the battle for legal marijuana to the time when the Jews fled from slavery from Egypt, a moment commemorated in Passover celebrations. This year's rally represents a continuing fight for the freedom of economic slavery for marginalized members of our community and a rebirth of creative genius that will get us there, they wrote. Now, this is a really extensive story.
It's a whole essay about it.
Yeah, it's like, if marijuana companies are able to act like tobacco and alcohol industries have in the past, there's a good chance they'll convince more Americans to try even regularly use marijuana, and some of the heaviest users may use more of the drug. Not a chance. The heaviest users are going to use more of the drug. How are they going to use more? They're going to smoke 2 days worth of pot in one day with two hands?
I think what they're arguing here is that instead of smoking, they'll also be eating gummies and doing the THC oil, and they're just going to be like triple dosing.
People that write this don't get high. You get high, you don't feel like getting high for like 3 or 4 hours, and that's the way it goes, right? It ain't like, oh no, I better get high, it's been 3 minutes. It ain't like alcohol where you just go, I gotta have it. It isn't like that, man. People are a little confused about this, apparently. Anyway, my theory of 420 is, again, Bob Dylan invented it. I'm sticking with that. It's more than a coincidence that his song, Rainy Day Women, 12 and 35, which famously the chorus is, everybody must get stoned. They'll stone you while you're trying to be so good. They'll stone you just like they said they would, The name of that song, Rainy Day Women, 12 and 35. And 12 times 35 is 420. Your story.
Okay. Well,
all right.
Happy 420. And I'm here
Happy
again
420.
with some more depressing news. As in culture today, we're covering K-pop. Because Moonbin, K-pop star and member of boy band Astro, has died at the age of 25.
Jeez.
Pop star was found unresponsive on Wednesday evening in his Gangnam apartment. Local media, citing the police, reported that Moonbin had been found unresponsive on April 19th. Astro member Moonbin unexpectedly left our world and became a star in the sky, said a statement posted in Korean early on Thursday on Fantagio's official Twitter page. It did not provide any information about the cause of death. The statement asked that everyone refrain from speculative and malicious reports so that his family can pay their respects in privacy. Moonbin, who performed as Moonbin, was a member of the group Astro and also performed with subgroup called Moonbin and Sonha. Joined the Fantagio label trainee program at an early age and was an actor and model before debuting with Astro in February 2016. The group was originally 6 performers, but 1 member left in February 2023. Moonbin's sister, Moon Suha, is also a K-pop singer, performing as part of the girl group Billy. Label's announcement prompted thousands of comments from grieving fans, many expressing disbelief. So sorry for the loss of one of the most beautiful souls I've ever met through music. Prayers to his family and friends and employees and fans. One user responded on Twitter, Fontagio's post. I can't focus on work now. This really hurts, wrote another. Several other young K-pop stars have died in recent years, including Fuhara in November 2019. He had been abused by her ex-boyfriend, who, after the split, blackmailed her over their sex videos. Suspected suicide occurred a month after her close friend and fellow K-pop star Sulli killed herself after a long struggle with online bullying, prompting demands in South Korea for stronger punishments for cybercrimes and abusive online comments. 2018, 33-year-old Minwoo of boy band 100% died at home, with his label only saying that he suffered cardiac arrest. Just over 3 months earlier, the group SHINee's lead singer Jonghyun died by suspected suicide. He was only 27. K-pop stars are picked up by agencies at a young age, usually in their early or mid-teens, and live under tight control, with their days taken over by grueling musical and dance training. South Korea has one of the world's highest rates of suicide, which, according to recent government figures, is among the top causes for death for those under 40. If you feel like suicidal thoughts are in control of your life, you can contact befrienders.org for the UK and Ireland, and Samaritans as well, at joe@samaritans.org. In the US, you can call the National Suicide Prevention Line, 1800-273-8255, or chat for support by texting HOME to 741-741. In Australia, the crisis support lifeline is 1311. Right, there's your suicide awareness of the month, or of the year, hopefully. I would like to not further report on any more suicides.
Well,
please don't do that.
Did they say it was a suicide? For sure.
No.
We're speculating.
It's like they said, they're not going to reveal anything until after the grieving period. But I think what the Guardian is saying here is that the likelihood of being a suicide is very high because, as they said, it's the top killer of people under 40 in Korea. It's just a high likelihood, whether or not it's true.
Well, it's sad, and it seems like suicide, 25 is really, you haven't even lived a life yet. You ain't even experienced all the horrible shit you're going to experience at 25.
At 30,
you cheated
35.
yourself out of all of that. I just... Wow, that's a terrible speech. Okay, so this day in history, I did a day early yesterday, so I'm not going to do it again today.
Well, do it
but
anyways, because maybe people didn't watch yesterday's episode.
Okay, it's Hitler's birthday. Okay.
It's Hitler's birthday.
It is Hitler's birthday. 420 is Hitler's birthday. So, also Luther Vandross and John Paul Stevens, Supreme Court justices. And on this day in history, that was it. Today is National Cheddar Fries Day. So, I don't even know where to start with cheddar fries. I'll just eat the cheese.
I don't even know where to get a cheddar fry. That's really sad.
I'm disgusted that they even exist. I mean, why don't you just have a baked potato or something? You're ruining French fries. French fries are fried, right? They're crispy, they're golden brown, and you pour a bunch of shit on them to ruin them. You just ruined what you just created. It's absurd to me to ruin French fries with pouring shit on them. I never understood that.
Oh, that's the Belgian way.
I've never. It turns them into a sloppy mess. French fries, these crispy golden brown things that you pop in your mouth one at a time and go, I dip them in ketchup or whatever you like, right?
You pop one,
and then you're slopping them together.
Time. Wow, look at you.
Well, what the hell's the point of slicing these potatoes individually, frying them to crispy golden brown, and then dumping chili and cheese all over them so you ruin them, and it's just a big freaking mess.
I guess because maybe
why'd you bother frying them?
Wrap French fries by the handful and stuff in my mouth. I guess.
I just want to take people to some of the food choices they make. What was the point of that? What was the point of frying all the potatoes just so you could ruin them by dumping shit on them? It makes no sense. Hey, okay. It's also College Student Grief Awareness Day, fittingly, as we're talking about suicide and people getting high on 420. Two combinations of things that depression, weed will treat your depression. It could bring on depression if that's all you do is smoke weed and get depressed, yes. But again, it's a psychological problem. It's not necessarily a problem of your drug of choice. Could be booze, could be worse. National Auctioneers Day also today. And this day in music and rock history. See if we can find anything compelling. Let's see. Oh. Let's see this day in rock history. Anything happened? Anything happened? Anything at all? I guess nothing, man. Nothing really that great. In 1949, Phil Spector's father committed suicide when he was 9 years old. The title of the song, To Know Him Is to Love Him, which Phil Spector wrote for the Teddy Bears, comes from the inscription on his father's headstone. In 1957, Elvis Presley started an 8-week run on U.S. singles charts with All Shook Up. It went on to be his biggest single, selling over 2 million copies. All Shook Up was his biggest single? Alright, whatever. In 1959, Gold Band Records released Puppy Love by 13-year-old Dolly Parton in the U.S., a song that was recorded 2 years earlier when she was just 11 years old. The song didn't chart. 1966, during a 12-hour session at Abbey Road Studios in London, the Beatles worked on a new John Lennon song called And Your Bird Can Sing and new George Harrison song Taxman. The Beatles first recorded And Your Bird Can Sing in the style of the Byrds. The discarded version was released in 1996. And the anthology includes a song Lennon and McCartney laughing their way through a vocal overdub and being unable to sing. In 1968, Deep Purple made their live debut at a gig in Kastrup, Denmark. Formerly known as Roundabout, guitarist Richie Blackmore suggested a new name, Deep Purple, after his grandmother's favorite song, which had been a hit for Peter DeRose. 1968, Apple Music formed, soliciting tapes from known artists such as Badfinger, James Taylor, Mary Hopkins, Jackie Lomax, David Peel, and Elephant's Memory were signed up. 1969, Benny Benjamin, session drummer Benny Benjamin died. He was a Motown session drummer for Four Tops Temptation, Marvin Gaye, Supreme, Stevie Wonder. And in 1971, 5 friends at Raphael High School in California coined the term 420 as a euphemism for smoking pot. April 20th became popular day to spark up, as does 4:20 p.m. This is just randomly chosen. I don't think anything happened on April 20th specifically. It was just 4:20 in the afternoon. All right, that's it. Today's in music.
All right. That's been Alison here from the Netherlands, talking about more depressing stuff as usual. I hope you have a good 420 if you celebrate, because of course here is the land of 420, as everyone knows.
And from the United States, where we're still all shooting each other for random things like pulling in a driveway. Hey, stop shooting each other. All right? Can we go like a month without shooting somebody for no reason? Have a good day. And for the U.S., April 20th, 2023 on Before Coffee. Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.